Let's make 1 loaf of sourdough. I start by adding our active starter to our bowl, 50 to 70 grams. $375 grams of water, 10 grams of salt. We're gonna mix this until that starter is dissolved. We're gonna add 500 grams of bread flour. Now we're gonna mix this up until a shaggy dough forms. I'm gonna cover for 1 hour and come back for our first stretch and fold. Okay, it has been 1 hour, so we are going to perform our first stretch and fold. I have a little bowl with some water in it so I can keep my hands wet as I'm maneuvering the dough. So we're gonna lift it up, turn, lift up the opposite side. Try and not rip the dough as you're doing this. Wet, just get your fingertips wet in between. What we're adding is gluten structure to the dough. On the first round, I like to go around twice. If your dough lifts out of the bowl, that's fine. Just kind of let gravity pull it back down. Maybe give it a little shake. You can also kind of pull it down to stretch it as well. Now we're gonna cover it and wait 30 minutes for our next stretch and fold. All right, we're back for our second stretch and fold. Fingertips wet. You can see the dough has a little bit more structure now, and we're gonna pick it up. Be careful not to rip the dough again. Should have more structure though, so it should not be feeling like it would rip. Each time I'm lifting up a side, folding it in towards me, turning the bowl, and then lifting up the next side. If you can, get 2 rounds of turning the bowl in. That's good. If not, 1 round's good. I gave it a few coil folds, just like lifting and letting the dough fall, letting gravity take hold of it. And then we're going to cover and let it sit for another 30 minutes. So on round 3, we are going to do a coil fold. Again, dip your hands in your water, and you're just gonna lift the dough up and let it fall. Then you're gonna turn the bowl, opposite side of dough, fingers underneath, and just let it fall. We'll do that 1 more round, wetting your fingertips in between. Let gravity kind of pull the dough down. Cover and let rest for another 30 minutes for our final stretch and fold. Last coil fold. Now we're gonna let it sit and bulk rise for about 6 to 8 hours. You wanna see it double in size. We finished letting our dough bulk rise, and now we're going to final shape and then stick it in the fridge for cold proofing. So I'm gonna dump. I'm gonna flip it over and I'm gonna laminate it by just stretching it out. This would be where if you wanted to add any inclusions, you would do that. And all I'm gonna do is simply envelope fold the dough in again for a second time. So I'm just folding the corners in to each other. I'm gonna flip the dough over, and from here, we're going to shape it. So I'm just gonna push the dough forward with my hand, and then I'm gonna tuck the dough under and pull towards me. So there's never any pulling the dough over. It's always a forward motion, tuck, and pull towards yourself. So you're making just a 90-degree angle, pushing the dough forward, tucking, and pulling it under. Just building a little bit of tension in the dough. You're gonna see some air bubbles on top. Be careful, we don't wanna pop those. So be very gentle with the dough as you're doing this, pushing it forward, tuck and pull. Once it is firm, kind of like a chicken breast, that's a good stopping point. From here, you're gonna take your Banneton, cloth lined, or you can do without the cloth straight into the Banneton. If you were gonna do that, you would wanna make sure that you stick some flour or rice flour down. I see a lot of people rice flour this or regular flour. I don't think my dough sticks, so I don't see the purpose. But to each their own. There's not a right or wrong. Do what works best for you. So we're just gonna take the dough, turn it over into our Banneton, and then we're gonna stitch the top. You can see how it's kind of opened back up. I'm gonna take the middle, each side, and I'm gonna pull it closed. I'm gonna hold for a second, and then I'm gonna stitch the other side to the right, hold. I'm gonna stitch the side to the left, hold. And if it looks like it needs to go back over in the middle, do that as well. Then I'm gonna take the two end pieces, lift them up, pull them into the center, and hold. From here, I'm gonna cover with a shower cap again, and I'm gonna stick it in the fridge for 12 hours, and then it'll be ready to bake.